Chapter 15. Nancy warns Rose Maylie. It was the night after Monks had met the Bumbles. Bill Sykes, tired and ill, lay on a filthy bed in a tiny, barely furnished room. He wore a dirty dressing gown and had a stiff black beard, a week old. His mood was ugly because of illness and because of streaks of bad luck had just brought about this poverty. Fagin had just stopped in to see Bill and Nancy. "Where have you been all week, Fagin?" asked Bill. "You were plotting while I was lying here helplessly." "I was away from London on business," said Fagin. "I wouldn't forget you." "Well, I need some money, and if it hadn't been for Nancy, I would have died." "I'll send some money around with the Artful Dodger," said Fagin. "No, you won't. He might just forget to come and find some excuse to spend it. No, I'll send Nancy home with you to fetch it." When the girl was at Fagin's house waiting for him to count out some money for Bill, Monks arrived. The two men climbed upstairs to another room, but Nancy followed and listened at the door. By the time the two men came down, she was putting on her shawl and bonnet, preparing to leave. She dared not look at Fagin as she dropped the coins into her hand. She was too frightened at what she had heard upstairs. Nancy was weak and pale by the time she reached Sykes' room with the money. She tried to hide her upset from Sykes. He was only interested in the money. But the housebreaker began to question her. "You look pale as a corpse. What's the matter?" "Nothing," she replied, and tried to force a gaiety into her voice. Later that night, Nancy dropped some sleeping powder into Sykes' drink. As soon as he dozed off, she put on her bonnet and shawl and left the house. "I pray I'm not too late," she murmured, as she walked into a fancy hotel in the West End of London. "I would like to see Miss Maylie," she told the doorman breathlessly. He looked at her outfit and pushed her towards the door. "Please, I must see her," Nancy cried. "Whom shall I say is calling?" "It's no use giving a name." "What business are you on?" "It's no use mentioning that either." Nancy looked around desperately at the housemaids who were gathered in the door. "Won't someone here carry a message for a poor girl like me?" One of the soft-hearted servants agreed. "What is the message?" she asked Nancy. "Tell Miss Maylie that I would like to speak to her alone. It's very important." Nancy thought of her great gulf that separated a woman like herself from a refined lady like Rose Maylie. Nancy had spent all of her life on the streets and sinful places around London, but she still had some pride. "It's not easy to get in to see you," she told Rose. "If I'd become angry at the way I was treated and gone away, you would have been sorry later on." "I'm sorry if someone treated you harshly," Rose replied. "Now please, tell me why you wish to see me." Her sweet face and gentle voice surprised Nancy, and the girl burst into tears. "I am about to put my life and the lives of others in your hands," Nancy sobbed. "I am the girl who dragged little Oliver back to Fagin's place on the night he left Mr. Brownlow's house in Pentonville." "You?" exclaimed Rose. "Yes, and there's more. I've run away from those people who would murder me if they knew I was here, telling you what I overheard. Do you know a man named Monks?" "No," said Rose. "He knows you, and knew you were here. Only by hearing him mention this place was I able to find you." "Yes," said Rose, "I understand. Go on." "Soon after Oliver was put into your house on the night of the robbery, I began suspecting Monks. I listened to a talk between him and Fagin. I learned that Monks has seen Oliver accidentally with two of our boys on the first day we lost him. Monks recognized Oliver as the child that he was watching for. but I don't know why he was watching for him. He made a deal with Fagin that if Oliver returned, he would give Fagin a large sum of money. Fagin was to get an even larger sum if he made Oliver into a thief. A thief? For what purpose? Asked Rose. Monks saw my shadow on the wall as I tried to hear about that, so I had to run away. Then I didn't see Monks again until last night. What happened then? He came again to see Fagin. I listened to their conversation from another room. Monks said that the only proof of Oliver's real identity lay at the bottom of the river, and that the old hag who received the proof was dead. Then Monks laughed and said he had Oliver's money safely for himself now, but that if it had been fun to make the boy a thief and have him jailed, it seems Monks wanted to get everything from his father's will, and with Oliver out of the way he could. He and Fagin could arrange for the boy to be jailed and hung after the old thief had made a profit out of him. Rose couldn't believe her ears. There's more, said Nancy, speaking quickly, for she had to get back before she was missed. Monk said that he would kill Oliver himself if he could get away with it without getting caught. But since he couldn't, he would always be on the watch for Oliver to make sure he didn't take advantage of his inheritance. Monks even told Fagin, I may harm him yet. You can't imagine what traps I shall set for my young brother Oliver. His brother? Exclaimed Rose. Yes, and he would probably pay hundreds of thousands of pounds if you had them to find out who Oliver really is. And now I must leave. But why do you wish to return to these people who have treated you so horribly? If you'll let me call a gentleman from the next room, he can take you to a safe place. Thank you, dear lady, but I must go back. There was one man among the bunch who was even more desperate than the rest. If the others found out that I had told you all of this, they would surely kill him. I can't forsake him, even to be saved from the dreadful life I led. But what good will this information be when you are gone? How can Oliver be helped? You must have some wise friend who will keep your secret and advise you what to do, Nancy replied. At least, tell me where I can find you if I need to, begged Rose. Will you promise that you will come alone and not tell anyone else where you are going and not allow anyone to follow or watch you? I promise, said Rose. Very well then. Every Sunday night from 11 o'clock until midnight, I will walk on London Bridge if I am alive. Please take some money, said Rose, so you can live as an honest woman. Not a penny, said Nancy, but God bless you, sweet lady. Nancy hurried off quickly into the night, and Rose sank into a chair to collect her thoughts.